So you finished the story. Well, we're in the endgame now. It's Chaos Chamber, Myth Ranks, and Chaos Mode. But what does that all mean? Well, let's break it down. Hey, this video is brought to you by my Twitter giveaway. I'm giving away a copy of Tiny Tina Wonderlands. I'll have a link to that in the description down below. It's giving away on Twitter and it's only open till the 6th of April, so go and click the link in the description. Let's go! As a quick minor spoiler warning, there will be some minor story spoilers because it's hard to show the Chaos Chamber mode without showing some of those spoilers, so just be mindful of that before we continue. You can return to this video later if you haven't finished the story. If you're not too worried about spoilers, then let's go. The Chaos Chamber is, in its basic form, similar to a roguelike. A basic run contains 3 randomized dungeon rooms like the encounters you would have experienced throughout the story, then a mini boss fight like the obelisk fights that you may have come across throughout exploring some of the areas, then 3 more dungeon rooms, and then a final boss fight. Depending on the type of run you pick, these timings may vary and the length it may take will vary as well. So the normal randomized dungeon trials are essentially just what we've discussed. You get featured runs, which is exactly the same, except the end encounter is a very specific end encounter, which I won't spoil if you haven't got to it. Extended runs are essentially the normal randomized trials, just a little bit longer, and the Chaos trial is the important one, which unlocks the Chaos levels when successfully completed. We will cover this in depth later in this video when we talk about Chaos modes. Each time you complete a room that isn't a boss fight, you will open 2 portals to choose from, and the symbols based on the portal will decide what happens next in the next room. A small chest indicates that you will get loot for successfully completing that area. A chest with a diamond means you'll get crystal currencies. Queen Bot Stallion means you'll get a small skill buff for completing that area, and the Dragon Lord means that he will be able to pick a curse, which will increase your currency drop rates as well as give you a negative effect. Speaking of these blessings and cursings, blessings and curses are modifiers that only last for the remaining duration of your run. Curses make the run harder and they negatively affect your team or buff the enemies. However, the benefit here is that you will earn tons more crystals by applying one of these effects, and depending on how hard or easy the curse is, you will end up getting more or less crystals. Blessings can be activated by visiting one of the altars, and there are altars throughout all of the encounters, and in some of the areas you will get altars spawn once you complete the encounter. There are all kinds of different ones here, from increasing ammo capacity to increasing certain types of damage to ward health or anything in between. In order to purchase these blessings, you need to spend crystals, which are the rainbow colored drops that you'll see from enemies and from completing the different encounters. And some encounters have optional tasks that will net you more crystals if you complete that task, and there are also hidden objectives that don't actually show up in your quest log, like the various runes that you can find and some other different things like skulls or things that you can shoot in the distance, and these will unlock other effects or give you more crystals that you can pick up. By completing a Chaos Chamber, you will get moon orbs, which can be used at the enchantment stations to re-roll the enchantments on your gear, and you will also get access to the big chest in the middle, which will give you tons of loot, often legendaries from that. And then on the left and right hand sides, you will have the rabbits, which you can spend those hard-earned crystals from your run and actually pick certain types of gear. So really, if you're looking for, say, an assault rifle or a ring, something like that, then you just pick that option. You spend 500 of your crystals to get the most benefits or the highest chance of getting the best gear that'll come out of it, and anything that you have left, if you're under that 500 mark, you can still spend that on the rabbits and get whatever is left. And you should spend all of your crystals before you leave because you don't keep them between runs. As a whole, most of your Chaos Chamber runs will just revolve around clearing the encounters, picking up anything that you find throughout the area, and then going on to that next area. You can make the encounters a little bit harder. You can make them elite by spending some of your crystals, which will make the enemies a couple of more levels higher, around the 43, 44 mark, and make them obviously do more damage, have more health, that kind of thing. Then you will get better rewards from doing this from those encounters. But realistically, I would save most of your crystals until the very end and try and grind either the Dragon Lord or the chest with diamond portals that you get, because the chests with diamonds are the ones you get the crystal currencies, and the Dragon Lord will increase your crystals that you get from doing everything. So ultimately, the more crystals you have at the end, then the more rewards you get from the rabbit buffs that you can get. And if you are really struggling, you can spend some of those points on the blessings. The blessings are pretty cheap, especially if you've got the multipliers up pretty high, so it's not too bad to spend them, but it's better to save them for the gear that you can get at the end. You will probably get access to the Chaos Chamber before you hit max level, but once you have leveled up and hit max level, you'll get access to the myth ranks. The myth rank system is a way to continue leveling past the level 40 level cap. Each time a new myth rank is earned, you'll need to pick a constellation to use for that point. The constellations move clockwise, so you can only slot a note in each constellation, and then you'll move on to that next one in that clockwise kind of fashion, so you'll be spreading out those points evenly. The 4 constellations are Druid, which is inflicting and improving on status damage. This is also improving companions, drop rates, and lightning damage. The Archmage is a constellation that focuses on improving elemental damage and magic proficiencies, as well as some of cooldown rates and damage increases. The Blade Master constellation increases your stats around melee combat, melee attack, speed, damage, criticals, those kind of things. And the Deadeye is the gun version of that increases your crits, your reloads, your fire rates, and damage boost for all of your guns and weapons. Because you have to spread your points evenly, it can be hard to laser focus on one specific thing, but the only thing I'll say is that you need to unlock a previous node before you can unlock the next node further along the tree, and some of the best nodes are at the end of each of the trees. So the first thing you want to do is spread out those points. You can get the higher level perks at the end of the nodes, and then you can start splitting them as you spread around in that clockwise fashion. The last is the Chaos mode, and this is unlocked by completing one of the Chaos Chamber trial runs that will increase your Chaos level. And once you've completed one of these, you'll have a new option that'll appear in your menu for the Chaos mode. Initially, you'll only have the option to enable Chaos mode and the one Chaos level, but as you complete more of these trials, you unlock more of the levels. And what this will do is change these little modifiers underneath, and these will increase the enemy's health, the enemy's damage, but it'll also buff your XP gain, your gold gain, your moon orbs, and your loot luck, and potentially give you the option to find chaotic or volatile gear. And chaotic and volatile gear are essentially just like higher powered gear that you can find that'll have additional effects and benefits on them. Each Chaos level will increase your chances of them dropping, as well as increase the other modifiers as well. I unfortunately haven't found any really decent Chaos pieces. I'm just terrible with loot luck, but I've only really found greys, but you can see like they give you different benefits. So if you do find these, it's good to level up your Chaos level and complete these trials, and you can then start getting some of that higher quality gear. This is essentially the endgame loop in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It's these three mechanics, but primarily it revolves around the Chaos Chamber, leveling up your Chaos level with the Chaos trials, and then grinding out for that higher level gear. You can go out and find some of the named bosses throughout the world and complete, side objectives and quests that you may have missed along the way. There's plenty of little side objectives and collectibles like the lucky dice and the lost marbles, things that you'll find throughout the world that you can collect, which will give you permanent buffs if you do collect them all. But primarily this is the endgame loop, is these three mechanics and grinding through those Chaos Chambers to get the better gear and get the specific pieces that you want for specific builds. But until they release more content, that's really the general gameplay loop. It's just that roguelike mode and trying to level up your character past the max level with the myth rank system. But they are adding more content to the game relatively soon, actually. On April 21st, the first part of the season pass is coming, and this is going to add new loot, new challenges, big bad bosses, and a new class, which is very interesting considering we've already got 6, so we're going to have 7 in total. But it seems like this looks to me like more endgame content. Doesn't make sense they would add stuff that isn't endgame content, especially when the story is so short. So if you're really worried about maybe getting your money's worth or not really enjoying the roguelike mode, I would say to stay tuned for that, because we'll see what really comes out of that. There may be something interesting that they do release as part of the next update on April 21st. Go and check out my review of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. If you're wondering what my opinions are of this entire game, go and check out the Twitter review that we have going for a copy of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands if you are still deciding if you're going to pick up this game. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.